Hello everyone, welcome to Titan Web Tutorials. In this video I'll show you how to configure access control for your smart V. Alright, so before I show you how to get this done, let's talk a little bit about what it does. So what access control will allow you to do is to differentiate between smart V users. So kind of a profile, if you may. What this will do is, let's say you have a smart V and we'll configure it on a contact. I've already configured the smart V. You can go ahead and watch. We have a ton of videos on how to configure the smart V. So we have the smart V configured, and now we want certain contacts. In this instance, we configured it on the contact. As you know, you can configure the smart V on any object in Salesforce. So we want a certain contact with an attribute, which you can grab from any field on the contact, to see that for the Titan Web Portal to behave one way for one user that's in a group, and for a different user to behave differently. And what I mean by behave differently is that we can control any input or button or anything that we have on any of the pages of our site, or our Salesforce pushes or gets, anything that the user interact with, we can control. All right, so let's get down to it. A few things to consider is, once we configure the Smart V on any page that we have inherit from project, which means it's not publicly available, we'll be able to configure the settings for the user access. So for instance, product catalog right now is public, and we care about something like customer service, which is only available with once the user logged in with the Smart V. So let's go ahead and take a look. So I'll head over to User Access, Smart V, and I'm going to jump to Parameters. And what we want to do here is enable access control. What this will do is give us a parameter to create, in this instance Smart V permission, and then we need to tie it to something from Salesforce, something we want to grab from Salesforce. So that could be any field. In this instance, what I will do is, just to demonstrate, we'll create a new field, and that could be a text field, anything you like. You can grab it from a formula as well. In this instance, what I will do is create a pick list, and what we will do is give some pick list values. So we will call this, let's say, contact profile, and we will say standard and power. And you can give as many as you like according to the levels of access you want to create in your Titan Web Portal. Okay, so we'll hit next, and we'll save this, and we'll head back to one of our contacts. And we will find our profile. This guy will be, let's do this one standard. And Mr. Don here, we will do a power. Okay, we have both saved. Perfect. Now what we want to do here is, let's just close this up. We'll open it again so we'll see the field. Access control. And we will select our contact profile. So contact profile and generate Smart V login. Perfect. Next up is access control. So I'll turn it on and I'll add a role. So our first role will be standard. So we have in our pick list value, we have a standard and we have a power. So let's go to search for this. So I want to get the exact value, so it will match once the user logs in. So I'll grab the standard one. And let's start configuring. So let's say standard profile, I want to say, and now watch this, you can go to every single element on your project, and you can configure it. Let's say in get pick list, you can say I don't want this to run. So you can do disabled or default, which means if the Smart V has access to it, then it will just run, or it could be disabled or enabled, either way. And same thing for your Salesforce gets and pushes, and then you can go ahead and customize your pages. So in every element here, let's say for the customer service, I want to go ahead, let's go to the create a case, and I want to say that this type of user cannot set the that element case priority on the create a case page, which we will take a look in a second. And the visibility goes for default if it's already shown or hidden by any rule that's running condition, or if you want to hide it, or if you want to make it visible in case that onload of the element is hidden by default. So what we will say is default, because it's right now showing, there's nothing hiding it, and we will say read only. So I'll hit apply just to give you a little taste of this, and we'll save it and publish. And what we will do is log in with this guy. Okay, so right now I think I'm logged in. Let's sign out. And sign back in. And I'm just going to grab the one-time password. And I'm in. And let's head over to customer service. And I'll do create a new case. And I can see that the priority field is read only, just like we've set it in the access control. Now we can fill up and run the case. So let's do something else over here. So right now, once I'm saving it, it will create the case for me. And I can see that the case is right here. We can go ahead over here just to show you the amount of control you have. In the create a case, I can disable the button so it cannot press save, or I can also hide the whole thing. So I can go to the create a case, to the entire strip, and say hide, and you can play with it however you like. In this instance, let's head over to the push. I'll show you how you can control the pushes or gets that you're running from Salesforce directly from here. So what I will do here is hit disabled on the case create new case, which is what my button save on that page is running, and I'll hit apply and I'll save it, and let's publish so we can get it happening on the site. Let's refresh and let's head over to the create new case. And what I will do here is try and run this push to Salesforce. So I hit save. We saw that it was real quick. Nothing really happened because my push was disabled. Same way you can control the gets from Salesforce. Anything here you can control directly from the user access. So if we'll head over to our page, let's say create a case. Let's head over to customer service page and customer support table, and let's say we want to hide this from the standard user. So we'll head over to access control and we'll go to the customer service page and customer support table, and I'll say hidden. I'll hit apply and save. Let's just preview this so we don't have to publish every time. Close this up, and we can see that our table is hidden since we did not give that user permission. All right, let's see a few more fun things. So we've seen fields we can control if it's read only, or if you're hiding or showing it, pushes, gets from Salesforce can control for every single role. Let's create another one, and what we can do is just duplicate this one, and we have this role, and you can name it obviously standard contact, and let's switch to copy of role, and we'll call it power contact. So like this we can get running quickly for creating our roles, and we'll say the power, what I want to happen here with this is we'll go back to customer service, and we'll say customer support table default, or we can do visible if we're hiding it by any other condition. And we'll head over to create a case, and we will say that the case priority is default. And again, we can enable it so we have the visibility and state of the any element like a button or an input. We can have a state for it, so read only, enabled, or default. And last thing we did over here is have the push default. So the push will run to Salesforce. We'll hit apply. We'll save this. Let's go back to our preview. So this is our standard user. And if we're in preview mode, and I can go debug, and I'll say, how did we call this? Let's see. Smart V permission, we can see that we're running on standard right now. So what I will do is sign out. And let's sign in with our power user. So that's Mr. Don here. And what we will do is like so, and grab the one-time password, and we're logged in. Now let's head back to our customer service page, and we can see our table, and we can create a new case, and the priority is enabled, and we'll say power, and we'll set up the rest of the stuff over here, and we'll hit save. And let's go back to our customer service, and we got our new case created just like that, since our push is enabled and everything else has permission for. Let's play with this a little bit, and we can go to, for instance, let's go to the dashboard page. Say my statistics. Let's say for the power users, I don't want the statistics to show. So what we can do is access control. Let's see what pages. So we'll take a look at the dashboard, and that's my statistics. So that's the name of the page. And go back to user access, access control, dashboard, and I'll say page access for the entire page, disallow. I'll hit apply. Let's save it. Let's refresh. Go back to home. And we'll go back to my statistics. We're getting this page, so let's take a look at our configuration here. And what we've done is we have set this role for the disallowed access for this page for the standard contact. So let's revert back, and I'll say power contact, and I'll go to the dashboard, and I'll say disallow. I'll hit apply, and we'll save this. And now we'll go back and refresh, and we do not have access to the page, and therefore we cannot navigate to it. Alright, so let's head back and re-enable it, and let's do a little recap. So we have a few types of access. So the first one is for the page. You can set access for the page allowed or disallowed. And fun fact is, if your role is not here at all, so let's say someone comes in with no role, or with a role that we did not set up, then it will not get any access for what we gave access here for. So you have to, once you set it up, you got to set all your roles to make sure everything is running smoothly. So we have the page access. Then we can control every single element on the page. So if you're giving your page default access, which means if it's allowed or disallowed, then you can control every single aspect of that page. For strips, you can hide or show. For like text, anything that represents data, you can hide or show. Any input value or a button, something that the user interacts with, you can either set the visibility for it or the way that the user interacts, which means if it's a read-only or disabled for a button, if it will try and grab one. So the save button, so we can do disabled or enabled, and so on and so forth. Same goes for the Salesforce integration. So for get push or get pick list, you can set if this role is allowed to run it or not. And like we've seen in the demonstration, if you, for example, disallow a push to run, then nothing will happen. Even if the user clicks that button, nothing will happen going to Salesforce. And this is how it's done.